thanks for keeping me honest. 20.01 in the 50. I was 3/100ths off initially, but like, were you able to be happy about that swim, knowing that it was a state record? But I'm sure 2/100ths.
Oh hell yeah! I was so happy about that.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to go 19, but you know, it's all good. I did what I wanted to do, and
For sure.
You know.
No, that's great. You know, like that's one of the things that I have to tell you in these conversations I've had is there's a lot of guys that have a hard time internalizing some of the things that they did. And so I'm always curious, like, you know, like that part of it. I'm glad that you were able to be happy about that, because I've talked to a lot of guys that broke state records and found themselves like, but I wanted to do this. And it, you know, it wasn't wholly fulfilling. So I'm glad to hear that you were happy about all that. So, you know, your junior year here, you're swimming these times, and the recruiting timeline is so much different now than it used to be. You know, like a lot of guys that I've spoken to in this project, they didn't know where they were going until after their senior year, and didn't do any of their visits until after their high school state meet. And that was really a thing like 25, 30 years ago. But now the guys are committing very early, and between their sophomore to junior year, and may not even be in the water their junior year before they've already committed where they're going. And so I'm curious for you, you're way out there really early, so the recruiting process probably turned on as soon as it could, I would imagine. And, you know, like, tell me about the recruiting process.
The recruiting process for me was really interesting. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I knew that if I was going to go out of state for school, it was going to be due to swimming. You kind of came to terms with that sophomore year-ish. But really, swimming in college was, you know, never really on the radar for me. And it was never really like, oh, I'm going to swim for that college. You know, like, I'm going to UVA, and I had no idea until my junior year that UVA existed. You know, so I didn't really know like which coaches or programs were quote unquote good. And so once that recruiting window opened up, my junior year, I was, you know, for lack of a better term, swamped with, you know, coaches trying to contact me and, you know, stuff like this. And I'm glad, like, my club coaches, my high school coaches helped me, like, work through that. And, you know, my parents were supportive of, you know, trying to talk to coaches. Or we took a few unofficial visits, because at that point, your junior year, you could not do official visits. So everything was unofficial. And I visited a couple schools, and it was nuts.
When did you actually commit?
I was the first guy in my recruiting class to commit. Mm-hmm. I committed, I want to say December. Yeah, before December 20th, I committed.
Of 17?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So yeah, like a full 18 months out from graduation. That's cool.
Yeah.
So that kind of fills in. So that takes a lot of pressure off. Like, I don't know if any of that's connected, but you swim really well. I'm sure getting all that decided and done, and how that's fed into the state meet, and like, I don't know if that made you any lighter, you know, in the shoulders and any pressure that you were feeling, but you obviously performed really well there, and you know, at your state meets. I was curious how all that played. Mm-hmm. You know, your senior year, I wanted to come back to that race, and, you know, in just that conference, you swam against, you know, not just Cam Peel, but earlier in your career, you had some really good races with, is it Christian Burt?
Christian Bart was.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, like some really quick swimmers who would win state championships at different state meets, you know, being able to pair off. How did that help you that there were guys that were quick around you? You know, did you get to see those guys a lot? And how was your competition on the west side of the state during the course of, you know, your coming up?
So competition was always fun, you know. We like between Cam Peel and I, it was just fun. Anyone who was close to my time in the 50 or something like that, it wasn't so much of a, you know, rivalry. It was just, let's see how fast we can go together. I don't think I was ever like, oh, I'm going to beat you. I don't think I was ever mad at anyone for beating me. And I was just happy to be racing fast people, and because, you know, that's the thing with swimming is you don't get faster unless you're racing fast people. So it was good.
For you, that senior year, how were you able to kind of maintain focus coming through there? I mean, some of the things that I've talked to guys, particularly guys that know that they're going to be leaving the state and that their life is really going to be changing. It's a challenge for them their senior year to stay focused and maybe repeat things they've already done. You know, they've already won a state championship. They've already gone to junior nationals. They've already, you know, and they're kind of moving through. How was that senior year for you, knowing where you were going and what you were doing and like all of that? How did you manage that?
I looked at my senior year as kind of this is the last time I get to do this. This is the last time I get to, you know, have that dual meet against, you know, these people, or I get to swim against Cam Peel for the foreseeable future, or, you know, so especially that high school season, I sat down with my coach and we were like, you know, these are the things I want to do. Like, I want to have a great state meet at the end of the year. I'd like to go 19 ideally and stuff like that. We kind of set a fun little goal to see if we could get a pool record at every dual meet throughout the season. And then, you know, it was just, you know, kind of a last hurrah of like, let's just enjoy every last little bit of this you can.
Well, did you get your pool record at every single pool?
I did, except for collegiate pools.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair. I mean, I think you should be off the hook for something. Yeah. That's great.
Thank you.
When you look back at, you know, your career at, you know, Forest Hills Northern, and kind of looking back as a junior swimmer, whether it's the 5 national championships, the high school state record, the 6, I believe, state championships at state championship meets, if you could pinpoint what you're most proud of, when you look back at that part of your career, what are you most proud of?
You know, I'm most proud of, I think, the things I got, the opportunities I got because of all of that. You know, at state meets and conference meets, I had the chance to, you know, meet wonderful people. I got to swim with really nice guys, and, you know, it was a blast. I'm really happy that all of that, you know, led to my eventual recruitment for college swimming. You know, being able to be part of something else for another 4 years. I'm really happy that I got to know my teammates so well and everything like that. So yeah.
That's great. What's your favorite meet as a kid when you look back at that point in your life? Is there a favorite meet?
Oh. Trying to think. There's so many like good little moments. So my sophomore year, I had been sick I went out. I never started my sorry. I never started my high school season. Got sick November 15th of that year, and then I did not swim more than like 200, 500 yards at a time until Valentine's Day, at which point I was feeling, decent, but I hadn't swam much at all due to everything going on. And then that was our meet against EGR that year. And I woke up that morning, I'm like, yeah, I feel okay. So I texted my coach. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to school today. I'll get the full day in so I can be eligible for the meet if you'll have me swim. I can swim, exhibition if you want. I just kind of want to be part of that because they are like EGR is kind of our rival, And so I show up at the meet, and it was so nice to be after like 3-4 months of just, being alone at home and sick. It was really nice to be, around the team. And that meet, I got the state cut in the 100 free and the 50 free, and just kind of moved on from there. So it was just kind of one of my little comeback stories that I love.
Mm-hmm. So obviously that helps me, kind of see you still improved that year, your sophomore year, but you had that big jump your junior year. That might make sense why, especially in the 100, you had a huge drop in the 100 your junior year. I think 44-16, like even though the sprint, it's obviously tough to keep getting faster and faster in the 50. In that range, like you lop off like a couple seconds in the 100 free and really clearly get a lot stronger. Is that, kind of the thing that, like where'd that strength come from? What were you doing that really kind of developed that strength in your sophomore and junior year?
Just
your junior year, I should say.
Yeah, so like I missed out a lot my sophomore year, and I was kind of upset that I had to miss that much swimming. And my junior year, I was, that was the year that I was being recruited and stuff like that. So coming off of a year of missing a lot, and then moving into, my recruiting year and everything, it was like, all right, let's see how far we can push this time. And to go with that as well, it was my third year of, say, high school swimming. I had been around the block twice at this point. And so, like, I knew what was coming as far as, challenging days and hard sets and this, that, and the other thing. So I was really able to make those work for me at this point. And then, yeah, so with that as well, like my sophomore year, we lost a few good seniors, they graduated out, and we really wanted to go for that third conference title, which we, my freshman year, we won the first one, I think 8 years, and then we won sophomore year, and then we won my junior year, but that junior year was really like everyone had to pull together to make that happen, and so that was part of it as well.
Yeah. And I read some of those teams went undefeated in dual meets, won the conference championship, like really like cool years, I'm sure, to be a part of that program.
Yeah, no, it was a blast.
Yeah. Your senior year, looking at your state meet, obviously you were incredible at the conference meet, and you weren't as fast a couple of weeks later at the state meet. I just wanted to ask you, like, what was different for you that following week at the state meet that you weren't quite as good as you had been a couple of weeks earlier?
A couple of things. Moving into that state meet, I think, was the first time swimming where I felt like something was on the line, and I really wanted to. That's not to say that I was like, guaranteed to win the years come. Like, I felt like I really wanted the last 2 championships at the state, and I really had set high expectations. I really wanted to go 19. I wanted to get the pool record there because at the Holland Aquatic Center it's still 20.37. I was like, oh, I can do that. So in finals, I believe I matched it. But yeah, so I wanted to break 44 and the 100 as well, and so I kind of ended up just distracting myself from just going and swimming and just having a good time, you know. So that was the one time I kind of got in my head a little bit.
How do you internalize that part of your whole career? Is it all good, or are there a little sick?
No, if I had to redo it, I wouldn't change a thing. I'm very happy with how everything went. I'm very happy with, the people I got to meet, the coaches I got to swim with. I could not ask for a better experience, and every setback I had, has pushed me to be the person that I am today. And, I'm happy with that, even if those setbacks were awful at the moment.
I get it. I get it. I mean, it's one of the things that for me has made this project interesting is every single swimmer has their own experience, and like there's almost always are setbacks. There really has been nobody, like Peter Vanderkay won Olympic gold medals, and he'll tell you the story that he was not very good until he was like 16, and so like a lot of his setbacks happen on the front end and like everywhere in between.
Yeah.
Like those are gold medalists, and like they have like can go on about their challenges and how difficult they were at the time. I mean, that's obviously part of the sport and what it gives you. But I know that you're still writing the chapters of your career. So when I ask you this question, which I've asked really everybody in this series, like what swimming means to them, it's different. Like when I ask a man who's now 68 years old, looking back at sometimes his master's career and like being in the water for 50 plus years, and it's a different answer. But for you, you're actually still in the middle of it, and so I know that it's a little bit different. But when I ask you to like what swimming, the sport, has meant to you in your life and what it means to you today, like what's your relationship with the sport?
I mean, it's a good relationship. Swimming has really like shaped every aspect of my life. Whether it be, preparing to swim in college or what job I had being a lifeguard or a swim coach for the middle school team. Like it's really shaped me into who I am, and I could not be happier.
I had you at 6'2". Is that about right?
Yes.
What do you weigh? Has that varied during your career? Have you put on weight at different points?
I've been roughly 175, 180 throughout my career. My freshman year, I think, was a little lighter, but
yeah. Do you ever have any nicknames?
Oh boy. So this one's actually kind of funny. So I did the Fox interviewer. Yeah, I did the Fox interview. The one that's online, and they say my name is like #fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a complete lie. So during our like high school practices, we used to call it fishing people. So we'd like fake go at the start of a like set or something like that, and see if we could get someone in another lane to like go early or mess up. And we called that fishing. And on some of our shirts, we would have like #fish on the back. And that interview, they just misheard it. And,
that's tremendous. I'm actually, I think it was Jack Dole's story, and I've been friends with Jack for a long time, and I saw that was his piece. That's hilarious, Jack's story. Is there anything that, we haven't talked about where I'm kind of missing the forest from the trees?
Part of why I am where I am and have had the success that I have is, my parents, I feel like they never, pressured me to win states. It was always like, let's go into the season, let's have fun. And if you're not having fun, so what, we can be done. There was never any pressure from friends or family to do anything just but my best. Do what you want, have fun, and that's it. I feel like nowadays, especially, that it's hard to see that. Um, Being in my position, I'll get texts or calls or private messages from young swimmers. One of which a few weeks ago is 14 or no, 13, and is like stressing out about not going, competitive times for college recruitment, and things like that. I feel like are ridiculous. Like um, I feel like the reason I've done so well is there was never a lot of pressure on me in that sense. The only pressure I had on me was the pressure I put on myself. I'm very thankful for all that.
Well, that's a message I can amplify and get down with. I think that's a great one. I mean, do you feel like you're able to help adequately over text messages sometimes? I mean, it's pretty challenging when you have 13-year-old kids, sharing like their challenges with you, and you're trying, like, imagine you want to be the right voice at the right time in every one of those situations. Do you feel like you could be that?
Yeah, I try to be. When anyone reaches out to me, I try to help them as best I can. But yeah, it's hard.
Of course. Well, I think that, the fact that people want to be close to you and connected to you, and the fact that you're the one who receives those messages, there's obviously a huge compliment and a huge blessing in that. And that's like we talk about things that are earned, like your career and your status is like, like I probably throw the word around, but like when you're narrowing a group down to 75 people, in 75 years, I think it's okay to say those are like the legendary swimmers of our state's history, and you're one of those guys. And I just have to tell you that, I find your career really, really interesting, and a guy that, I didn't know anything about your injury when you were younger, and the way that you kind of described rebounding out of that to within like 2 or 3 years being not just the fastest kid in your area or fastest kid in the history of Michigan at that age, is just a really, I feel like it tells me something about who you are as a person and how you responded to that. And the other thing I would say that I just find really interesting is, just like I said, how consistently you swam fast. I really like swam fast at so many different times of the year, and like at a lot of different points in seasons, and like this to me paints a picture of a tough guy that rises to the occasion consistently, to post to all those times that I could research through, where it was like when I was charting your best times, it was like there's like 4 a year, like here's some great times in conference meets and state meets and national meets, and like this, I found your career to be a really impressive one to research. And I hope you are really proud of what you've accomplished.